to the
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to a brand new episode of the Footless podcast. Today, I've got a friend of mine from track and field. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hey guys, this is Devon Allen. I'm a U.S. Olympian in the 110-meter hurdles. I placed 5th place in the 2016 Rio Olympics, and then now I'm training for the 2021 Games in Tokyo.
Very nice.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for joining. So, I think we should just get right into the questions for now, and then we can kind of talk about whatever we want.
For sure.
The first question I have here is, what challenges did you come across in getting to where you are today?
I would say, as an athlete, and you know this, you spent a lot of time training. Mm-hmm. A lot of your free time, focus on sport and just practicing your craft, whether it be shooting or for me track and field. So I guess the biggest challenge is just to stay motivated, really in something that you do all the time. Mm-hmm. Right? Like, not that it's boring to me necessarily, but you want to, things kind of get repetitive. So
yeah.
It's definitely difficult to stay motivated, and that's what I think separates the elite athletes from just the normal guys and girls walking around is their ability to stay focused and kind of have their eyes on like a goal,
right?
Per se. So I think that's one of the biggest challenges, just staying the course, mm-hmm. Staying focused throughout the whole, for us, our sports are like showcasing the Olympics, so staying focused for those whole 4 years where you're training, getting ready for the next games.
Yeah. So. It definitely takes a lot of sacrifice. When I first started, I didn't realize how much sacrifice there was in being an elite level athlete. There have been times where I've had to cancel on, time with friends and even time with my fiance, and it's been kind of difficult. Have you had stuff like that before?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it's just kind of a normal thing nowadays. Mm-hmm. What if I want to travel and then go see some friends, or mm-hmm. My friends getting married, or you want to go out to dinner or something like that, and you're like, oh, I can't because I got training early in the morning, mm-hmm. or vice versa. I mean, just being able to take some time to yourself, in the off season even is difficult, right? Because we spend a lot of time training. We don't want to take too much time off to where then it takes a lot of effort and time to get back into shape and get back into the swing of things. So, mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely you have to give up a lot, sacrifice a lot to, be able to, compete at our level.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right, second question I have here is, what drives you to get up in the morning and go to training every day?
I think, just that the overarching goal that we all have as athletes, and especially for us Olympic and Paralympic athletes, is winning that gold medal at the end of the day. So mm-hmm. Something that drives me for sure is just the opportunity to get better every day, for one, and then two, there's a goal that we're working towards.
Right.
And it helps that we have some competitions and here and there and that stuff like that. But overall, I do this sport because I want to win a gold medal in the Olympics.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Would you say that you have any friends or family that you do this for, or do you do this for your own personal goals? And I don't know if that sounds right, but
no, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess all of us probably have some people that support us. Mm-hmm. In general, most of the time it's friends and family, like you said.
Yeah.
But for me, it's just I'm kind of intrinsically motivated and self-motivated to
mm-hmm.
do this because that's what I want to do.
Right.
I mean, obviously my family is supporting me, and they're really happy for everything I've done and accomplished so far. But even if they didn't necessarily support me, this would be something that I still want to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, what about you?
For me, and I talked a little bit about this in a previous episode, I want to prove people wrong really badly, because my whole life I've been told by doctors, other friends of mine, and even sometimes my own family. I've been told that I would never be able to do certain things, and I've been able to do so much now that, you know, there's nothing stopping me from being able to do more. And then since I've gotten into shooting, that has shifted a little bit more into, I know I can do it.
Yeah.
Now I just have to do it, and I want to do it. It hasn't been resting as much on the people that told me I couldn't anymore, which it's been a good feeling, because I feel like I'm in a little more control of my own life now, if that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure, and especially you've had some success, so
Yeah.
you definitely know, like, you know, any goal that you set is definitely attainable. So
Mm-hmm.
that's always positive too, to start to where you're like, it's realistic.
Yeah.
You know, as athletes and everything, we always set high goals.
Mm-hmm.
You know, regardless, right? Like world record, gold medal. But when you get to that level where it's like super realistic, you know, then you feel like super confident. And
Mm-hmm.
just gotta stay the course.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got a favorite quote of mine that is, I didn't come this far to only come this far. And that's kind of been a motto of my life recently, because, you know, I've been going through a bit of a rough time with having to be away from my fiance, and of course the pandemic and everything. It's been very rough on all of us. And yeah, I've got to continuously remind myself, like, I'm this far now. What's stopping me from going further?
Yeah, may as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Fair.
All right. Next question. Ooh, let's see. Okay. What is important to you?
Ooh, what's important to me? It's,
Mhm.
it's very broad, but I think just being happy.
Mhm.
You know, like we talked about a little bit earlier in this episode, just waking up every day and you know, finding motivation and enjoying what you do.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, for me, it's, you know, running, and you know, I played football in college, and I hope to play football sometime again in the future.
Mm-hmm.
But just enjoying sport, and something I've grown up my whole life doing, and it's something that's been my passion for, you know, 20 years now. So yeah, just having fun and being happy is probably like those, you know, those motivating factors and stuff that kind of drives me.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and for me, it's kind of the same thing. Like, making sure that you're happy in whatever you're doing, making sure that, you know, you understand that, like, no matter what is going on in the outside world, you've got to make sure that you're happy first.
Yeah.
You know, this is something I've talked about with a couple of people here recently. Is so many people are only posting the good things that are happening in their lives on social media, and so it paints a picture of nothing is going wrong in their life.
Yeah.
When in retrospect, they're only posting those things because it's the good things that's going on. Whereas, like, for me, I've got some stuff with my family, and of course the pandemic has been really hard on all of us, like I said before. It's been very kind of eye-opening recently to, you know, understand that everybody's going through something really hard right now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's something that not a lot of people share. Not a lot of people share the hardships that they're going through, because people only want to see the good stuff that's going on.
Yeah, and to be honest, sometimes it is hard to share, because
Mm-hmm.
you know, you don't really have either an outlet to share, or, you know, a lot of people just kind of bottle up those emotions. And I think that's why it's cool that, you know, you wanted to get into counseling and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
to help people, like, you know, counseling doesn't always have to be like negative, right? It could be positive, like,
Right.
talk about what's going good.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so but yeah, so that's very important, and I agree 100%
Mm-hmm.
on that. Is like, you know, social media nowadays has kind of become this like platform to, like, you know, show like the top 10% of your life.
Right.
You know, and everybody else is comparing to everybody else, and they're like, oh man, I'm not doing well because, you know, this guy's 23 and he's, you know, he's has this business, or is doing this, or is making this much money, and everybody's like, oh well, I'm behind.
Mm-hmm.
You know, or ahead, depending on where you're at. I mean, you're younger than me, so
Yeah.
but yeah, so for sure.
Yeah. Speaking of business, you opened one recently,
Yep.
right?
Yep. I just recently started a business. It's a supplement company. It's called Upgo Supplements,
Mhm.
and you know, the reason why I started it, and actually some of my partners, a few of my friends from like Pop Warner days when I was like 7 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So I've known them my whole life, and we were, around May, of this year during the pandemic, we were like, hey, let's do something.
Yeah.
Let's start a business. Let's see what we're passionate about. And for me as an athlete, right, like not necessarily supplements, but nutrition and getting the best nutritious stuff in my body is important. And I know you can't always get that by eating, or
Right.
we don't do a great job doing that. So that's why I looked into the supplementation industry and kind of looked at like where it's lacking, what I could do to kind of make it better, or maybe not even better, like the best for me. Like types of like supplements, like multivitamins, amino acids, protein, like pre-workout stuff like that we all use, but like stuff that's like specifically catered to something that I feel is like the best blend and stuff like that. So yeah, we just launched actually last week, last Friday, so the week before Thanksgiving. And we're doing pretty well. We only have a couple of products, but we actually had a meeting with a supplier last week, and hoping to get like 2 or 3 more rolled out here in the next 4 weeks.
Awesome.
So it should be pretty good.
That's really good to hear. Very cool. All right, let's see here. Next question. Actually, I've got a question for you.
Go ahead.
So, what does the diet of a track and field athlete look like?
So depends, what part of the season.
Right.
Usually like early season, I'm doing a lot of base training, a lot of training in general. So lifting, running, plyometric stuff, whatever. So I usually eat a good amount, just because sustain energy and stuff like that. And then as the season progresses, you're working, like running is probably one of the best forms of exercise behind swimming.
Yeah.
Right, so you automatically kind of stay fit by doing it. But for me, I've always had a little bit of an issue with just like in college, I had to fluctuate between football weight, like about 190, 195 to track to 180. So I was about 10, 15 pounds heavy, and then I had to lose 10, 15 pounds every year. So my diet can consist of, if I'm trying to lose weight, it could be like super sparing, like just a lot of proteins, veggies and fruit, some fats and stuff like that. Kind of, go low on the carbs, just the easiest way. I mean, obviously, a caloric deficit's going to be the best way to lose weight, but it's important when you're trying to lose weight to eat enough protein to keep muscle mass.
Right.
Especially like coming off, whatever, like off season or injury, where you're not doing much. You're trying to control like the muscle mass loss as much as you can.
Right.
So sometimes it's okay if you like stay the same weight, or even gain weight, but you keep all the muscle mass, because once you start training heavily, it's going to be easy to kind of melt the fat away, or melt whatever excess weight. But what about you? What's your like diet look like? I know like you're being pretty specific in the cafeteria. Like, what do you?
Yeah, so because I'm not doing as high intensity as you are with the cardio and everything, I've got to stick to a lot less carbs, because I'm not doing anything not as much at the moment to burn off that fat.
Yeah.
So I've got to stick to low carb stuff. So I've been doing things like burger patties and veggies. That kind of stuff has been big for me, so that I'm not eating any more than I have to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. I mean, that's pretty much the most important thing, is like, in our society in the U.S., like overeating is a big thing.
Yeah.
Just in general, like portion size, portion control. Like every time you order something from a restaurant, it's probably too much.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I think it, especially living here in the Olympic Training Center for a little bit, has definitely been good, because like they do a good job with nutrition facts, portion size, and then serving us food that's going to be like of the highest quality, and like a lot of choices. So you can have a lot of picks, which is good. So like while I've been here, I've actually gotten in pretty good shape, and like I said, not doing as much training. Still doing some training, but like I've been able to kind of shed some weight. I was like 198 when I got back, and I'm like 189 now, so I'm about 9 pounds
Very nice.
lighter, which is great, because I'm only about 8 pounds away from competition weight, which is what I want to be at in July for the Olympics.
Yeah.
So I got plenty of time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool. And you're coming off an injury fairly recently, right?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Definitely. Just had some issues the last couple years with like Achilles stuff. And this last year just had like some groin and hip issues as well.
Mhm.
So, but I'm feeling good. It's been good to kind of be here and get strong again,
Yeah.
and just kind of, progress so I can start training. So, when I go home next week, just kind of get back on the horse and get ready for the games.
Yep. That's good. What is something that you do to unwind after a long day of training?
I would say the biggest thing is like I love to cook,
Mhm.
for one. Like, so when I'm back home, I like to cook a lot and make my own meals. But also, we've talked about this, but I'm really
Yeah.
into video games.
Yeah.
Really into gaming in general. It doesn't really matter what the game is. Like just earlier, I was playing Call of Duty, but just the campaign mode. So it doesn't really have to be online. But I like the competitive nature of it. I like the storytelling of it.
Yeah.
We talk about Assassin's Creed, and I've been a big Assassin's Creed fan for since it came out in 2000. I don't even know, 2009 or something like that. But yeah. What about you? What do you like to do? I mean, I know you spoke briefly about video games.
Yeah, I'm a pretty big fan of video games. A lot of people, for some reason, believe that video games are bad for you, but I feel like, especially for us, it really is just a way to unwind and not have to constantly be in the mindset of, I am an elite athlete, I need to be training all of the time.
Yeah. Well, I think that's exactly what you're saying. Like, video games could be something similar to just like reading.
Right.
Like you're just winding down, and a lot of people play video games, and to be honest, it could be helpful with like just reaction time or even problem solving.
Right.
Like you just you're always thinking, it's not just mindless. Some games are mindless, but
Yeah.
That's okay. You're just winding down, not doing much. You spent 4 hours, 5 hours a day training.
Yeah.
You could afford a few hours to not do anything.
Yeah, exactly.
And play video games if that's what you enjoy. I mean, I know a lot of people that, work or build or,
Right.
do all this stuff. So it's the same thing, obviously, but just video games, obviously, is so big nowadays, especially with the amount of prize money that's going around and like the competitions and stuff like that. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's impressive how much of that has become as big as it has. I know that I've heard rumors that they're trying to start an Olympics or something like that.
Yeah, there actually is some rumors, and I heard about that just recently as well. They're trying to get maybe esports
Yeah.
into either like world championship competition of some
Yeah.
sorts or the Olympic Games, which, to be honest, I'm not really opposed to,
Yeah.
because I think it's entertaining. Obviously a lot of people watch it, or those guys that Twitch and and stream and do all that stuff wouldn't have a career.
Yeah.
So it's obviously popular, and I can kind of see both sides of the argument. Like, one is like, not like some people would say it's not a real sport, but I don't necessarily agree, because like it takes a lot of reflexes, a lot of reaction, a lot of hours and time. Like,
Yeah.
those people are like really training, and they have to take care of their bodies too, because if they're not in shape, they can't play long tournaments. They can't play hours on the day.
Right.
If they're not in good health, they're not going to be able to survive for a long career and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, to some extent, it is just like any sport. Like track.
Absolutely.
I mean, obviously, I'm just running, but those guys are training to practice something else.
Yeah, and it takes a lot of mental strength as well for that kind of stuff,
For
to
sure.
be able to sometimes outthink your opponent, and that's sometimes the biggest thing that you need to be able to do.
Definitely.
Yeah. Another question I have here is, what do you do to calm your butterflies while you're competing?
That's difficult, because I've always been like pretty calm in general. But lately, I've definitely picked up some, I wouldn't say competition anxiety, but definitely some competition excitement, to where sometimes I get so excited that like it's a little bit too much.
Right.
Or like, there's like a exponential curve of like how focused and your energy, how well you control your energy. So for me, I just try to give myself enough time to warm up, to where I'm not like, I don't feel panicked or rushed
Right.
to go into the competition. And two, a big thing for me, and I'm sure for you too, especially with shooting, is just like controlling your breathing. For that's a huge. Obviously, it's been around for a long time, meditation and stuff like that. But that's a huge tool because you control your breathing, control your heart rate. Your heart rate slows down. You feel less anxious. You get more oxygen to your blood. You feel more alert. You feel more focused. So for stuff like that, I think it's definitely that's how I control my butterflies is by breathing. And try to meditate in theory, like before competition.
Right.
But to the other end of the spectrum, some butterflies is good.
Right.
Because that's just what it is. You got to be ready to go. Like butterflies is a fight or flight reaction. Like we're getting ready to we're not fighting or whatever in real life, but like we're getting ready to compete. And it's like we're trying to get our adrenaline to spike at the highest we can, our heart rate to go as high as we can so we can be efficient. Yeah. What about you? I know like shooting's a little bit different where you're trying to keep your heart rate low.
Yeah, so
and stuff like that.
Yeah, with shooting it is a bit different. For us, we try to use that as much as we can because when your heart rate elevates, you become more focused. You especially become more focused on the thing that you're nervous or excited about. So our eyes tend to kind of hyper focus when we get excited, but we also have the heart rate issues. So we also try to find a bit of a balance between high heart rate and high focus, and low heart rate and not being able to focus as much.
Yeah.
I figured out that recently when I was in Peru last year at Pan Am's.
Yep.
And it's very difficult to fight through, and one thing I've been fighting through as well recently is I overthink a lot. I overthink when I'm shooting. If I shoot a shot that needs improvement, then I start to think, why was that wrong? What did I do wrong? And then I start thinking about how do I fix it. And normally I don't give myself enough time to get to the how do I fix it point before I start taking the next shot.
Yeah.
So I tend to think about the things that I'm doing wrong and tend to repeat that, even if it's not intentionally.
Yeah. No, I could definitely see it's definitely hard. Positive thinking is super, super important. I remember when I played football in college and, a few guys would be in a stump in terms of maybe dropping the ball a lot in practice or even in the games. And I can't remember who said it, but I think my coach was like, you just got to be confident. You can't in your head think when the ball's coming to you, don't drop it because that's already negative.
Right.
Like in your head, you got to think catch it. Because you only think about the positive. Both outcomes are the same, right? Like if you don't drop it, you caught it, and if you catch it, caught it. So, both outcomes are the same, but one of those positive thoughts is going to be more beneficial in fixing it.
Right.
As like for you, like you said, what's going on? Why did I mess up? How do I fix it? Maybe maybe something you're working, like you said, is okay, I missed. How do I fix it?
Yeah.
And just go from there, or and just make your adjustment. You have a little bit of time to kind of refocus, recenter yourself, take your shot. But yeah, no, I can see that for sure. That definitely is a big thing, and a lot of elite athletes is just like that mental game. So
yeah, it's been very interesting, and the mental side of sports has always been very interesting to me as well. Just because we're training all the time, sometimes not giving ourselves enough time to take care of the things outside of our sport.
Yeah, for sure.
I've had that problem many times throughout my shooting career. I've been shooting for about 6-7 years now.
Yeah.
And I've gotten significantly better since I started, but it's definitely been a roller coaster.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of stuff. My mom and youngest sister don't really talk to me anymore. So that was kind of a really big hardship that I was going through. And during that time, I had a major dip in my results for shooting.
Yeah.
And it really was just because I didn't allow myself to feel any of that. Yeah. I was trying to train straight through it. Yeah. And I wasn't giving myself the time to cope with it.
Yeah, to cope and move by it and not have to worry about it anymore, for
right.
sure. Yeah, and you can see that a lot in athletes that have, are dealing with some hardships. They sometimes struggle for a period of time because they don't actively try to think about it, but passively and subconsciously it's bothering them. So
right. Yeah, that's something that several of my coaches have talked about is leaving everything that you're going through outside of the range.
Yeah, for sure.
And sometimes it's difficult, but being able to kind of mentally block everything else out while you're training and then figuring out how to handle it while you're outside of that has it's been interesting trying to learn that.
Definitely, and it gives you a space to actually do that.
Right.
To where you can legitimately not think about anything for the 2 or 3 hours that you're doing, except for focusing on shooting.
Right.
Or trying to, at least.
Yeah.
Right? You're not just sitting in your room or whatever where you're just your thoughts are roaming.
Right.
Because if you have something to focus on, then you can just kind of for a short period of time, you can block that out. So that's good.
Yeah. Do you have anything else that you want to talk about?
I don't know. I know, your journey, and I've been listening to your last few podcasts. So I think that's really awesome that you're, advocating for athletes and other athletes in your position, and all athletes in general, not just,
right,
just that. Having me on the show, and then you think you might have a couple other guys or girls that are living here as well. So I think that's really cool, and I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, of course.
And
Thank you.
I appreciate you, inviting me. I think it's always good to get this stuff out there because, like you said, there might be a lot of people going through similar things. It doesn't have to be exact, but if they can find someone to relate to, maybe it's not a family issue or an injury or whatever, but it's just something going on. They got a bad grade on a test, and it's just but you can be like, oh well, these guys, these pros have normal reactions, normal feelings, and they cope with that as well. So no, it's super important. So I applaud you for starting this up and talking about it and trying to be a positive voice.
Yeah, it's been a really good time so far. I've really enjoyed it. I'm excited to see where it goes in the future.
For sure.
Yeah. Is there anything you want to plug in?
No, not really. I just want to, say thanks for listening, everybody that's listening. Go ahead and support the channel on YouTube for sure. Throw a subscribe, smash the like button, and yeah.
Thank you. And please, guys, check out Adaptive X Training and the Beard Struggle. I'm an ambassador for them. I'm sure you're getting tired of me talking about them, but they have been absolutely incredible to me. So please go check them out. And yeah, thank you guys for listening. Have a good day. Bye.